Good day everyone, Trainer Maxim with you. Thank you very much for joining me for this podcast. Today we're going to talk about a very interesting topic. Do we really need to think all the time when we move? As always, I thank everyone who supports my channel. Thank you so much, guys and girls. Thank you for your comments, suggestions, for simply watching my videos. Of course, your generosity is greatly appreciated. Your super thanks, donations, and my support angels. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Often with my students, we have a discussion. Do we really need to think all the time about the movements we perform, whether it's our everyday activity or our physical activity, athletic performance, and so on and so forth? Well, it's a very interesting question because thinking takes a lot of effort. Thinking is hard, I understand that. And we expect from our body to be able to move and bend freely without much thought put into that activity. I don't know why that expectation exists amongst us, but it does, and I would like to address it. I would like to point out one interesting fact. Let's say when you drive a car, you have to think all the time, right? You have to look and check your blind spots when you turn. You have to look back when you reverse. You have to watch for pedestrians all the time. Not a single moment of your driving experience goes by without thinking and analyzing the situation around you. At the moment you stop doing this, you would get yourself in troubles or other people around you in troubles, great troubles sometimes. Same with the cell phones. When you grab your cell phones, you really need to think about which buttons you need to push in order to access your message. Yes, it's sometimes automatic, but you really look at the screen, you really think that, okay, I'm pushing that green button. Or the pictures you want to find, you have to scroll up or down. You need to think about this. You need to think about cooking. Whenever you cook, you need to think what ingredients going where, what time it takes, what time has passed, and so on and so forth. So point is that we think about any activities we do in our lives with other objects, whether it's TV, computers, cell phones, cars, and yet, toward our body, we have that interesting expectation that our body must be able to perform sophisticated movements on its own without any thoughts given. And often we try to do that, and often unsuccessfully. And we just don't pay attention to the fact that our body is the most sophisticated mechanism in the known universe. The amount of positions your body can generate accounts to billions of billions. The amount of the positions your spine can assume is greater than the amount of atoms in the all known universe. I'm not kidding. I did the math seriously, and it's only the spine. And if we consider other body parts, arms and legs and pelvis and what have you, then we will have a numerous, infinite amount of possible placements the body can take. And in addition, we can generate so many thoughts for the same movement, then it makes the amount of possible movements combined with the amount of thinking you can produce while doing those movements, amount of thoughts you can produce with those movements, just infinite. And yet we expect that when you do the handstands, it needs to be automatic. When you do this, you need to be able to do that by default. When you walk, you need to be able just to walk, and everything should be working fine. And that's what gets us in trouble often. Let's say we stop thinking how we walk really. And from my previous videos, you might know that we revert to walking fall and catch versus push to propel. That walking leads to complications with the hip flexors, complications with the spine, and with time your body state deteriorates in terms of well-being, in terms of the health of your lower back, health of your shoulders, and so on and so forth, just simply because we stopped analyzing how we walked, or we have never done that to begin with. So we really need to develop a habit of monitoring how we move, no matter what, whether it's loading a dishwasher or doing your washroom routine, brushing your teeth, or training or doing any athletic competitive activity, you have to monitor your movements in the background of your mind. How you turn the body, how you turn the hips, how you place your feet, how. And I know that it seems very hard, and it is hard at the very beginning, as with any new habit. But you know, a habit is a habit because with time it becomes automatic. A habit of thinking about your movements, a habit of analyzing how you walk, a habit of analyzing how you turn your torso, a habit of analyzing how you did the push-ups or how you're sitting on the sofa. Am I hurting my spine? Am I twisting my spine in the way it's not supposed to be twisting? Am I walking funky with one foot turned out and one foot turned in? That will get you in trouble, right? But you have to develop a habit of monitoring your body movements hygiene. Of course, you don't have to think about this 24/7 in terms of you're walking and you're thinking, I'm pushing my leg back, I'm pushing my leg back, and something like this. Of course, it's not going to happen. But in the back of your mind, you must be aware, you must be running that program, that app, which would be in the background checking the mechanics of your walk. Am I still walking in that way every so often, every 10, 15 minutes, maybe every hour? You would trigger that algorithm, that app, and that app will check, oh, where are your shoulders? Are you standing with the shoulders slouched, or you're still maintaining the upright position of your spine and the open shoulders position? Or when you're turning your head, are you turning your head with the spinal movement or using the neck muscles? Neck muscles, good. Spinal activity to turn the head, not good. And so on and so forth. And it is difficult. I absolutely understand that. It's a huge amount of effort. But again, we need to remember that our body is the most sophisticated mechanism in the known universe. It's very complex. And we simply cannot expect from our body to be able to do just even walking or running on its own with perfection throughout our lifetime experience, because our body constantly is bombarded by the life experience, by the routine experience, everyday routine. You start bending in a certain way and you did not notice that that kind of bending you had in your spine when you did that activity was not actually beneficial for your spine. But you did not care about this and you continued with the bending in that certain way. And that bending in a couple of years, maybe 5, maybe 7 years, resulted in a very nasty lower back complications and herniated discs, or the way you lifted the weights for 10 years, as I did myself, without analyzing how you really lifted the weight. My goal was just to lift the weight, and I expected from my body to be able to lift the weight in almost any way, but of course I was following some simple cues, some simple suggestions from my gym buddies and from my trainers, but really without great understanding of the body mechanics, body levers. So I did not develop a habit of watching my activities. And suddenly, at the age of 25, 30, I started noticing walking became a problem. I started having lower back problems. I started having lower back problems even when I was eating, sitting at the table. So what happened? I wasn't active back then. I wasn't lifting heavy, but yet it happened. Had I just analyzed my activity, where was your shoulder? On the right, let's say, my right shoulder for some reason was elevated all the time, but I did not have an awareness about this because I did not care about where my shoulders were. So I did not ask myself that question. I did not ask many other questions. Maxim, how you walk? Are you pushing with the leg back or you're placing the leg forward? Pushing the leg back, good. Placing the leg forward will lead to other nasty complications such as slouched shoulders, slouched spine, and so on and so forth. So yes, simply monitoring your movements can prevent so many nasty conditions if only you have a habit of watching how you move on a daily basis. Not only about athletic activity, not only about not only watching your sport performance, but watching simple everyday activity, watching how you stand while you're talking to your friends. Whether you're standing with the head down and pushing the chin up like this, your spine is all mass, or your spine is upright, chest open because you're maintaining good hip activation, your feet in the right position, and so on and so forth. So we do need to develop a habit of constantly monitoring our body movements. That's something I call body movements hygiene. You brush your teeth, you ask a question, did I elevate my shoulder correctly? Am I hurting anything? Because whenever you hurt yourself out of the blue, say you did something in the garden, you bent and the lower back became on fire. Naturally, we start thinking, well, I wrecked my lower back because I bent in that moment that way and it hurt me. No, it's not really the case. It hurt you because that particular movement on that particular day was the final straw which broke your back, in this case, not the camels. We don't have camels anymore. Your back, because that movement was a cumulative effect of all movements of the same kind you have been doing over the last 3-5 years. And in that particular moment, on that particular day, you exceeded the stress limit of your connective tissue and you went past that limit. So the body snapped. The body tissue snapped and got slightly damaged, slightly inflamed. And you go from there. But we start blaming that bending activity on that specific day. It's never one thing. And further, you can analyze this movement. You were bending with a slight twist in the spine. Why? Why would you bend with a slight twist in the spine? Well, probably your hips weren't doing the great job. And because your hips muscles are not interacting with one another in a good way, the foot was placed in an incorrect way. Maybe your heel was too collapsed. Maybe your arches were gone. And if the arches of your feet are gone or not in the right place, then it collapses the knee. The knee is collapsed, it collapses the hip. The hip is collapsed. Then the spine starts twisting when it bends all the time. When the spine twists, the shoulders are working funky. When the shoulders are working funky, you have the headaches because your upper back muscles are always stretched due to the slouch position and so forth, so on. So you see how one little tiny awkward movement might be a cue to unravel all the sophisticated chain of reaction you might have in your body and fix everything. Because our body, as I mentioned before, is a highly sophisticated mechanism. It's a domino tower. Every part in our body dynamically affects any other part in our body. Like in a domino tower, you take one piece of the tower from the top and it affects the bottom. You take it from the bottom, it affects the top. And the middle affects everything else, and go figure. So we cannot really start fixing one issue in the body. Let's say your shoulders are hurting. We cannot fix just the shoulders. We need to address the whole reaction chain from the ground up. We need to address the feet. We need to address the hip mechanics. We need to address the spine mechanics, the core mechanics, the shoulder mechanics to fix the shoulders. Otherwise, if you keep fixing the house with the skewed foundation, no matter how hard, how much time you put into the walls or the windows, they will be always crooked because your foundation is not doing the proper job. But for all these things, we need to constantly, to catch all those things, we need to constantly monitor our movements. We need to develop a habit of watching how our body moves. Before you reverse with your body, look around, right? Just like we do with the cars or the cell phones. So we do need to watch how we move our body. And to do that successfully, you need in the first place to understand what you're watching for. Because yes, you absolutely can ask yourself a question, did I elevate my shoulder correctly? But if you know nothing about shoulder mechanics, if you know nothing about the interaction or interdependencies of the shoulders and the spine and the hips, then your monitoring will be done for nothing, since you cannot use that data for a good analysis, since for the good analysis you need to have a basic understanding of the body lever mechanics, how the levers interact with the bodies, how the levers of the body are affected by the muscular engagement, and so on and so forth. So to start successfully monitoring your everyday activities, first we need to learn something about the body, some fundamental things. And it's not that difficult. It's not absolutely like sophisticated things. It's very pretty simple physics. And as with everything in life, before you drive the car, they actually put you in a class. You need to sit a theoretical test before you are allowed to drive a car. Same with a cell phone. If it's a new cell phone, You need to read an instruction how the cell phone works so that you can use it. You buy a new kitchen appliances. You read the instruction how to use that fridge. Even if you had the fridge before, one fridge can be significantly different with all the new technologies and from the previous one. Same with the body. Before you start using your body, before you engage in that or another athletic physical activities which is new to you, or not new but you would like to review, you would like to fix, you need to learn about the body. You need to learn how the body works, how the body lever system interacts within itself. And based on that knowledge, you must to develop a habit of watching your movements, analyzing. And not only that, you must know what you're watching for, what you're looking for with your foot, whether your heel is completely in or completely out. And if it's completely in, what consequences you might have, what complications you might have for the knee. And further up, if the knee is affected, then the hip will be affected. If the hip is affected, then the spine is affected, spine is affected. Shoulders affected, head is affected. And now you're all in pain. And now you need to unravel all that mystery and analyze the pieces, but you need the knowledge to do that. Sounds complex, I know. But once you have that habit, and once you know what you're watching for, that will spare you a lot of troubles in the future, up to and included some surgeries for your lower backs, just by simply catching a faulty movement of your lower back just on time. Simply realizing that that faulty movement in your lower back actually happens because your faulty foot position. And if you perform a couple of simple exercises to correct the foot position, it will greatly improve the position of your knee. You perform some new exercises to train your knee actions in that new position, that will improve your hip. And you do the same to the hips. You perform some drills which are designed for the hip, for the actions of the hip being in some certain place. Then you improve the hips, and you improve the hips, you improve the spine improved, lower back health is improved, and now no surgery for you 10-15 years down the road. That is quite simple, but it's your body. It's a very good investment into your business, actually. Because if you're self-employed, like in my case, if I get broken, I cannot make living. A lot of constructor workers, lower back complications, you're done. You cannot make living for your family. Even if you have a sedentary job, you're at the office, it's very hard to focus on your work when your lower back is on fire or the shoulder clicks and hurts every time you move it. So it's very actually important. We should not take our body for granted. It's never granted. That body health can be taken away at any moment due to a very simple, silly movement mistake we might be doing on an everyday basis. So yes, with my students, I always say that yes, we do need to watch and think how we move our body, because that's very important, as you can see. And I encourage you to develop that ability. Please start watching, start asking questions. How you walk, how you run, how you bend. The sooner you start asking questions, the sooner you can catch some interesting, nasty situations which might lead to nasty, absolutely horrible consequences in your future. And you can prevent it with ease by simply catching on time, by simply understanding the mechanics, the interaction, by simply knowing what kind of drills you can do, what kind of exercises you can do to improve the situations. And you bulletproof your future about your lower back, because there are no quick fixes from the lower back pain. None. Zero. Once that chain reaction has been triggered, you cannot improve the lower back health by simply doing 3 easy exercises to get rid of the lower back pain. No, it hurts for a reason. The lower back is on fire, not because you did something once, but because you did something 5,000 times over the last 5 years. So don't expect to fix the lower back pain just because some interesting YouTuber says that these 3 exercises will alleviate the pain right away and never again you will feel it. That's simply not the case, and that's not true, because you can now see how sophisticated, how intricate your body system, body lever system is. So I implore you to start learning first about your body, start watching how you move every time, develop a habit, ask questions, how you walk, how you lift, how you bend, how you brush your teeth, how you use your cell phone, how you hold it, in order to catch all those little imperfections which might lead to very big consequences with your health. Okay, thank you very much for your attention. Thank you. I hope you got the message. Please leave a comment if you have questions, but otherwise I will see you in my next episode. Thank you very much. Trainer Maximus with you. Bye-bye.